Hey y'all,
He looks
good to see y'all.
fantastic.
Wow. Actually, that's not Dennis's haircut anymore. He's got some party in the back happening.
Yeah, dude, that's sweet.
The skullet.
What's our previous?
It's turned
As-
into a little ducktail too right here.
See, look, just so you all know, there's no judgment here. We can't afford to place any judgment on anyone, as you can see. So feel free to throw your camera on. More than anything else, it shows me that you're engaged. I certainly don't want to waste your time. And I know how people like to multitask. And all I want to do is change your life. So there's that. There we go. Nice.
Kevin over there. Good afternoon, Kevin.
Fantastic. Oh, yes, your hair looks wonderful.
Good afternoon.
Dude, they keep coming in. I love this. This is so fun. Guys, appreciate your patience while we wait for everybody to get in. So what's everybody drinking right now? Just curious. Water,
Tea.
Celsius,
Yeah,
a little bit of tea. Are you sure that's tea, Dennis?
Yeah, just a fancy water bottle.
Yeah, good for you. Dan, what do you got over there? Monster? Of course. Good for you, man. You got the rehab kind. It's because you just did like a 3-hour workout, right? Good for you, man.
Yeah.
We
5
could
a.m.
guess.
So this
If
is
we could what do you got there, Brigham?
LFG. I probably shouldn't guess on this platform. It's being recorded, so I'll let you all imagine what that stands for.
Let's friendly go.
Yeah, baby. See, I told you this webinar was going to be fun. All right. You guys want to do some opening? I don't know.
Yeah, sure.
Announcements, what have you?
Yeah.
Whatever you want to do. I have no expectations.
Yeah,
So,
no, Roger
surprise
that.
me.
Are you good with continuing to let people in if people trickle in while you go?
Yeah, I'm gonna keep paying attention to it for the first 10 minutes.
Yeah, no worries.
And then
That
after
sounds
that,
good.
if you don't mind, I like throwing on a visual.
Yeah.
And we'll run with that. But go ahead and
Cool.
jump in.
Well,
In fact, I'm gonna grab a book real quick. Hold on.
yeah, go for it. I'll at least start by just saying, one, thank you everybody for joining us. Obviously, some of you guys know I'm Ryan Schilling. I'm one of the partners here at Leadhub, and one of our initiatives in 2025 is to continue and provide resources and training to really fuel contractor growth. So we're tapping into our network of industry partners, and we want to bring that valuable insight to you. So with all that being said, I'm thrilled to introduce Brigham Dickinson. He's the founder of Power Selling Pros. Power Selling Pros and their team of coaches have been training CSRs in the home service industry for over 15 years, Brigham?
That's right.
Yeah. So really excited, no further delay. I'd love to just jump in and learn from one of the best in the biz. So
Awesome.
Brigham.
Well, I appreciate everybody jumping on. Before I get started, I want to make sure I manage your expectations well. What was the main reason that brought you in on this webinar?
Yeah. So it's going to be
what got you here?
Call center, outbound strategies.
That's easy. I'm looking for a challenge. Are there any challenges out there that, man, if you walked away from this hearing that one solution, you'd walk away going, holy cow, we need to do another one of these. That was awesome.
Customer education and follow-up.
Tell me more about that.
Educating the customer in a way that is going to shorten the sales process for things that are not straightforward, like HVAC systems or, I guess, water heaters, whatever's in the plumbing world.
Okay. And do you feel like if we were to handle the phone call in a certain way that we might make it a whole lot easier for the comfort advisor, for the technician to go out and make something happen. Basically, do some work, and as a result of doing work, they make sales, right? Is that kind of what you're thinking, or was it something different? I want to make sure I understood.
Yeah, that would be great. I think Ryan and I have talked a lot about the before, during, and after cycle of a lead as well. Doing things beforehand to get them prepped for what you're going into a house and about to talk to them about.
Okay. So you liked what I thought you said, right? But it seems like you may have said something a little different.
Yeah, I think the way that you say things in a conversation with a homeowner is going to, make them trust you more, make them like you more, and make them want to buy sooner.
Yeah, you're in the right place. I can help you with that. What else, you guys? What else are you looking to get out of this time together?
My role is a little bit different. I'm an account manager, and after you purchase our product and you go through the sales cycle with somebody, after you're established, you come to me. So what I'm looking to get out of this too are some approaches to upsell after the fact.
I can definitely help you with that. What else? What else is on that Christmas list? I have been doing this a while. I can make it go in any direction we want. So if there's something else you'd like.
I think part 2 should be spitballing AI and the impact of artificial intelligence as CSRs.
Okay. What's your concern there, or your question?
It's just a fun conversation.
It really is.
Yeah.
Man, what a rabbit hole. I think there's some other guys coming in. How do I go back to that? Participants. Anthony is joining us. Okay, I got to keep an eye on that. I'm going to keep an eye on that for another 5 minutes. Let's talk about AI for a second. When you say AI, are you talking about AI CSRs, or are you talking about AI that helps support CSRs, dispatchers, lead coordinators, and even techs in doing their job more proficiently? That sort of thing. What exactly are you referring to when you say? Hey.
Yeah, as an integrator, any kind of visionary type tactics, I've got to force myself to think about. But at Pantheon, of course, Service Titan has to roll out the fancy product that isn't going to be here for another year and a half. But Peter Bacon down there is our account rep for call tracking metrics, which is what we use for our clients. And so they're working on like a beta version of that for like after hours and such. And so there's twofold. One, you can't really remove that human emotion of really engaging with the customer on the phone in that first touch, which is amazing. But then how do you leverage the AI for after hours or overflow of just like inbounding and taking that call? And so that probably is a size conversation of if you're at 3 million, have multiple CSRs in the call center. But I think it's just a fun conversation to talk about in the future.
So let's talk about it for just a little bit. Hopefully that's okay, Ryan. So we train CSRs one-on-one twice a month using their own phone calls. We have over 1,200 CSRs in our program in the home services industry as we speak. Okay. We also have our own call center. There are 65 people inside that call center. And they mostly handle overflow calls as well as weekends, nights and weekend calls. You with me? Okay. So that call center books 93% of their phone calls. And guess what, you guys? They're the B team. Okay. They're not the A team. They're the B team. Now, if they were on this call, they'd be like, what are you talking about? We're the B team. And of course, I'd say, oh, no. What I mean is you're the best, right? B for the best, right? I totally cover. And tell them they're amazing and not to worry about what I just said. But the truth is I want all 1,200 of our trainees in our program that we're coaching twice a month using their own phone calls. We hold them accountable to their own phone calls. We want them to be better than our team. Okay, so if they're at 93%, if the B team is at 93%, I'm only bringing that to the attention of my trainees so that they can see that the bar is 93. You've got to be at 94. Now, guys, how many people do you think are booking 93% of their phone calls in this industry?
Very few.
It's unheard of. Okay. The industry average in according to Service Titan is 42% calls versus set appointments. That's atrocious. Okay, this is, if we continue, if humans continue to book calls at 42%, switching over to an AI CSR is a no-brainer. Okay? We need to arm our CSRs with the tools to perform at such an extremely high level that AI can't touch it. Okay? We've had a total of 6 companies leave booked. That's our sister company. Okay? Booked by PSP, the one that answers all the phone calls, 65 agents that answer phone calls. Okay? Bear with me here. There's like 4 people that wanted in to the webinar. Those 65 people booking at 93%. When we had those 6 companies call in and they all left for different AI companies, and when we know them all, there was 5 different AI companies, CSRs, right? AI CSR companies at the Service World Expo. They all sounded the same. When they left, they came back a month later with nightmare experiences. Now, what does that say? What it says is what I already knew, that it's not there yet.
Mm-hmm.
It's not there yet. Now, if these companies were smart, let's pretend that some of these AI companies are here on the line, and they were listening in on this. If they were smart, they'd have a strategy that would work in tandem with our humans. Okay. In other words, when a customer gets on the phone and they want a ballpark price, or when they want to know what you charge to come out, they want to talk to a technician, those types of calls. If the AI is programmed to say, you know what, that's a great question for a live agent, let me get you in touch with one. Mm-hmm. Don't mess around with that. Don't try and program around that. That is an opportunity. Number one, that's an opportunity that we paid for. Chances are they came through our marketing and they don't know anything else aside from, how much do you charge? Can I get a ballpark? Can I just talk to a technician? You know, all those types of calls, get it to a live agent that knows what they're doing. If that live agent is not trained to handle that call, you're wasting your time. So right now, if anything, right, I'd have AI that can handle the calls that you're going to book anyway, that anybody can book. And I'd have a team of well-trained individuals to handle those difficult calls. Now, the question then becomes is what percentage of your calls are, I want a ballpark price. I want to know what your charge come out. I want to talk to a technician. And right now it's about 40%. Okay. So now it begins to make sense why the industry average is 42%, because CSRs are not being trained to handle those types of calls. So independent of how much marketing we're doing, we're not going to book those calls because the CSR hasn't been trained. And there's a lot of reasons for that. Every time I talk to a business owner, I say, hey, what's your background in the industry? How did you get into it? Oh, I was a technician. Cool. And where do you spend most of your training time? Who do you train more than anybody else? Guess what the answer is going to be. What do you guys think?
Technicians.
Yeah, it's going to be the techs. They're comfortable training techs because they were one, right? Once upon a time, and I ask them, so tell me, how often do you train your technicians? And you know, it's like a badge of honor. Every day I train them techs. Oh man, they're the best in sales and I'm working with them every day. Cool. And how much time do you spend with your CSRs training them? Crickets. And this is one of many reasons why we're falling short in that center, in the call center. Now, look, most of the companies that I work with, you know, the 1,200 trainees that we have in our program, it consists of those owners who have come to recognize that they just do not have time to invest in their office staff like they do their field staff. They just don't. There's only one of them, right? There's too much going on, too many fires to put out. In fact, I was talking to one yesterday, Chad Simpson. You guys, he went from 3 million to 20 million in the last 3 years. And one of the major reasons why is because he finally recognized and admitted that he does not have time for his CSRs. He said that there'd be times that he'd go in and sit down with them and listen to their calls, and it'd be like once a month, and they'd be on fire for about like 3 days after he spent that time with them in the office. But then he wouldn't have the time to go back again. And then, of course, the conversion will go down. So we're going to solve a lot of problems with a team that is well-trained and performing at a high level. Okay. AI will be a solution in the future for sure. It's not there yet. I don't think it'll take anybody's job. I think it'll change it. And it'll certainly motivate the CSRs, dispatchers, and lead coordinators in our offices to recognize the technology, use it to their benefit, help them perform at a high level, and support what they're doing. They need to do a whole lot more. The humans need to do a whole lot more. So let's talk about what that looks like. Now that I believe everybody's on, I'm going to share my screen so that we all have a visual. But in the meantime, you guys like where this is going? Yes, we're moving in the right direction. Just give me a couple thumbs up. Wonderful. Okay. Okay, you guys can see my screen now. Just give me a quick yes.
Seeing too much of me.
You look good, man. I'm pretty sure it'll switch. Yeah, okay. Who would you guys say is the greatest salesman of all time? Don't all shout at once. Greatest salesman of all time. Give me a name.
I'm just going to throw it out there. Maybe Dr. Seuss.
Okay, you saw it already. You little turd. Yeah, Dr. Seuss would be the author of the greatest salesman of all time. But what I'm referring to here is Sam I Am, specifically Sam I Am. Now, I realize I let the cat out of the bag there, and that's fine. Usually I get answers like Martin Luther King or even Jesus. It makes it really fun. There's one time where I got the devil back, and I was like, ooh, what do I do with that one? Because it's not wrong. Yeah, a lot of great answers. The thing about Sam I Am is that it's safe. Who can argue with Sam I Am being the greatest salesman? Look, why is he the greatest salesman of all time? Well, first of all, you guys look at the product. It's green eggs, and the ham is green too. You guys, that's gross. Okay. This is why he's the greatest salesman of all time. And look at the beginning of the book. Okay. He looks at his customer, and his customer, I mean, look, Sam comes in on a dog. He's got a sign. He's prepared. He's ready to rock. He's got the right attitude. And regardless of where he's at, look how happy the customer is to see him. Well, the customer's not happy at all, right? The customer looks disturbed, frustrated with Sam already. And we know that he doesn't like Sam I Am. In fact, he says it. He says, that Sam I Am, that Sam I Am. I do not like that Sam I Am. Okay, so Sam is behind the 8 ball. But we all know what happens at the end of this. Okay, he has the right mindset, and he owns his process. Okay, he's got a process. He says, would you, could you in a box? Would you, could you with a fox? Would you, could you here or there? Right? He's got a plan. He's got a process, and he's following that process to the T. He goes through 70 objections. Okay, 70 objections and 15 closes. That's incredible. And he closes the deal. The customer goes from hating Sam and hating green eggs and ham to loving green eggs and ham and loving, you guessed it, Sam I Am. Okay. Every one of our CSRs, dispatchers, lead coordinators need to have the right mindset, and they need to own their process. When they do this, they will become your most profitable department inside the organization. And I will show you how. Okay. Now, who gives the first impression in your sales process? You know, and I know it. It's your CSRs. They are the first impression. Okay. The last, if they mess it up. So they need to be trained at least as much as your technicians. And if you don't have time to do it, get somebody outside your company to do it for you. Okay. We've already talked about the average call coming in. According to Service Titan, it's about 42%. Now, I know that everybody on this call, chances are you're better than that. Okay. So let's say you're at 60%. Let's say that your average CSR brings in, books 30 calls, right? They book 30 calls a day. Now, if your CSR is on the phone right now, they're going, oh, I book a whole lot more calls a day than that. Cool. That's great. Let's be conservative. Okay. Let's say that you book, actually, you take 30 calls, you book 60% of those 30. Let's make sure that we get our numbers right here. Okay. Now, if that is true, take a look at this. Okay. So that means that you're booking 18 out of 30 calls, right? Let's say that your average ticket's $500. Now, I realize that your replacement call is going to be a whole lot more than that, but your service call, it may be more than that. It may be less than that. So let's just say $500. For the sake of simple math, it's $500, right? $9,000 a day is what you would make off of 60% of your calls being booked. All right. 45,000 a week. And then, of course, revenue per year, 2.3 million. This is the strength and weakness of this industry. The strength and weakness of the strength of this industry is that you can make some mistakes and still make good money. The weakness of this industry is that you can make a lot of mistakes and still make money. Okay. This is one mistake that we don't have to make. This is one mistake that we can fix. In fact, this is your lowest hanging fruit. I dare say that there isn't a faster, quicker way to make more money than to book the calls that are already coming into your office. You've already invested the money in marketing. If you want to make more money, focus on this department. Give them the tools that they need to book every call that comes in, and you'll find that it's the quickest, fastest way to make more money. Okay, so let's say that we go from 60% calls versus set appointments to 85%, right? That means we're booking 25.5 calls instead of 18. Okay, that also means that our average revenue per call at the same, when we times that by 25.5, we're going to be at 12,000 instead of 9,000 a day. That's an extra $3,000 a day just by increasing our call conversion, right? Just by going from 60 to 85. It changes everything. So instead of making 2.3 million a year, it's 3.3. It's an extra $1 million. Fastest, easiest way to grow your business is to get that call center humming. And it can be done. Okay. We do it in our own call center. It's part of the reason why we started a call center. We wanted to prove out our model, a model that works. Okay. I'm going to show you that model right now. It is about having the right mindset and owning your process. What does that mean? What that means is that booking the call should be a given. Every call should be booked. You should have 100% call conversion. And I will tell you that many of our trainees book 100% of their phone calls. It's achievable. So in addition to booking that call, the question we really need to ask ourselves is, am I the only one going out to the customer's home? I started doing technician ride-alongs a few years ago. And on the first day I did these ride-alongs, my second call, I was one of 5 bids. I didn't sell anything. I was ticked. I went into the office and I said, listen, I am happy to continue to do tech ride-alongs with you, but I won't do another one until I know that your team inside the office is being trained and held accountable by Power Selling Pros. And so he said, all right, fair enough. We'll get them coached. And I said, awesome. So we signed up for coaching, started working, doing ride-alongs after they had a couple of weeks getting comfortable with the new process that we taught them. And crazy thing, I wasn't out on bidding wars ever again. And I probably did over 100 ride-alongs. We went from 500,000 in tech sales a month to 700,000 in tech sales a month. Okay. And one major reason why is because I was the only one going out. Now, you guys, if your technician is the only one going out to the customer's home, what are the chances of you making something happen inside that home? What are the chances of you making of you doing the work? Go ahead and give me one answer. I know the answer, but give me one answer just so I know that you're listening. What are the chances of you making something happen inside that home if you're the only one going out? Go ahead. Just want to hear somebody's confidence. Just anyone.
100%.
There we go. 100%. Your team is responsible to book every call that comes in. That has to be their mindset. Every call is the customer. And not only that, you want to make sure that that customer has such an amazing experience over the phone that when they hang up, you are 911 and there's no 912. Help is on the way. Okay. You're it. All right. So your CSRs need the right mindset, need to own their process. Every call coming in is customer. So when somebody calls and they want to know what you charge, let's say, hey, I'm just looking for a ballpark price. What you want to do there is you want to help the customer feel comfortable. You want them to feel safe, and you want them to have just a little bit of fun. Okay. Same is true inside the customer's home, by the way. Safety, comfort, fun. And we'll talk about that a little bit later on. But right now, that initial impression, you want to create comfort, you want to create safety, you want to create fun. How do you do that? Well, you use this tool called the pattern for excellence. Okay. Look at the blue part below here. Listen, care, say yes, and ask. When a customer calls in, they want to feel understood. That's where the listening comes in. They want to feel understood. It's an emotional need, you guys. They need to feel understood. They also want to feel cared about, that you actually care about their situation. And then you want to reassure them that they've called the right place. So basically, essentially, what you're saying is I understand, I care, and I can help. Hopefully you've written that down. I'm going to repeat it one more time. I understand, I care, and I can help. They need those three in the first 30 to 50 seconds. Now, one way to apply those three principles is to simply say, or simply ask, tell me more. And then agree that that's not good. And then simply say, I can help you with that. Okay. So when somebody gets on the phone, they say, hey, I'm looking for a ballpark price. Great. Tell me more about your situation. That's me listening. And they say, hey, I've got an air conditioner and it's blowing hot air. My gosh, how long has it been doing that? Oh, last couple of days. So wait a minute. You've been doing this for the last couple of days? Yeah, I really need to get this thing fixed. Okay, that's me caring. And then I respond after they've explained their situation and I expressed my concern, my care and concern for their situation. And I simply say, you've called the right place. We can help you. You see, they're not sure. They don't know that they've called the right place. Hopefully you are. Right? So in order for them to feel confident that you really, truly can help is by showing them that you understand and that you care. So listen, care, say yes. Those three. Very, very important. All right. Tell me more. That's not good. I can help. Those three. When someone calls just wanting a price on a part, you're going to do the same thing. You're simply going to say, it's a great question. How did you come to find that that's the part that you need? And they're going to say any number of things. They're going to say, oh, I was on YouTube and I've taken this thing apart. I'm in over my head, whatever. Right. Or I had another guy come and he said that this is the part that I need. And as you get talking to him about that, you say, well, look, we can totally help you with that. When would you like us to come out? How'd you come to find that that's the part that you need? Oh, well, I had somebody else come out and give me a price on it. Cool. If we were to come out and find that it was actually a different part that you need, would you be surprised by that? Well, yeah, I'd be totally surprised by that. Why don't you let us come out? Take a look at the situation, give you that second opinion, determine exactly what it is. If it is that part, we'll give you a price on it. If it's something else, we'll give you a price on that. When would you like us out? Okay, you see what we're doing there? We need to have a team that is trained to handle these types of calls instead of doing what they're doing right now. And I'll tell you what they're doing right now. They're saying, oh, I'm sorry, we don't give prices with phone. Okay, thanks, bye. Or they say, oh, yeah, they don't give us any pricing at all. You'd have to have a technician come out. They will respond the same way you responded. They'll say, oh, yeah, it's not going to work for me, right? They will mirror whatever you say. So if you simply say, hey, that's a great question. How'd you come to find that that's the part that you need? Somebody else came out, gave me a price on it, told me that's what it was. Okay. Well, if we were to come out and find that it's not that, would you be surprised by that? You say, yeah, I'd be really surprised. Well, why don't you let us come out, take a look at the situation, determine exactly what you need, give you a price before it starts. We also have the ability to say, hey, what happened to the part in the first place? Oh man, it was working just fine. And then it broke. How did it break? Did it make a noise or anything, or just stop working? Oh yeah, man, it just stopped working. How long has it not been working? About 3 days. Wait a minute. You've been dealing with this for the last 3 days? Yeah, man, I know. It's really put a strain on my marriage. It's not good. Wow, that's not good. Well, look, we can totally help you with that. When would you like us out? You see, we want to get them to explain their situation, showing them what we really understand. We really want to understand, and that we really truly care about their situation. When we do that, it's going to be very simple for us to say we can help, reassure them that we can help, and then simply ask, when would you like us out? Okay, and we're rolling. When someone calls just wanting to talk to a tech, great, wonderful. We have a lot of technicians. Let me make sure I'm sending out the right one. Can you tell me more about your situation? What's going on? Okay, do you see what we're doing there? Regardless of what they say. How often do people call heating and cooling companies? I don't know, once a year, maybe. They don't know what to ask. They don't know what to ask. So don't put too much, don't worry too much about what they're asking. Simply use the same process, which is listening, caring, reassuring. Listening, caring, reassuring. It's not logical. It's emotional. They are feeling, and they're using words to express how they feel. And they're using words to express how they feel so that you understand. This is why we shouldn't, in the beginning of the call, say, okay, cool, what's your address? You've killed the ghost if you do that. Don't you dare do that. Don't take in the beginning of the phone call. You give your attention before you take information. You give first. And crazy thing, you give first inside the home as well. You give first. You don't take, you give. Okay? Listen, care, reassure. You're not giving anything except your attention and your concern and your reassurance that you can help them. Okay? This is powerful. This is the moneymaker right here. All right? When somebody calls by accident, okay, wrong phone numbers, you book those calls, okay? You book them. That means every call, every call is a customer, right? Let's say that an advertiser calls in. You guys don't ever get advertisers calling and trying to sell you billboards and stuff like that. Never happens, right? Okay, but when it does, let them call in. And when your CSRs, dispatchers, lead coordinators are trained, anybody in the office who picks up that phone is trained and held accountable to their performance on a regular basis. They'll handle it somewhat like this. Ah, Mr. Billboard person, I'm so glad you called in. You know, it's funny because my boss, she gets a lot of calls like this. Yeah, she does. But you know what? There's one way to get through, and I can help you. The way that we do this is we get you on a service agreement. Now, it's awesome. Okay, if you've got a heating and cooling system, you live here in the market, awesome. Okay, so if you've got a system, that system needs to be taken care of. It needs to be tuned up on a regular basis, right? And so if I can get you on the service agreement, and we'll keep your system running great. That's our goal. That's our objective. It prevents premature breakdowns, and the goal is to keep you from getting caught in the heat, extreme heat or extreme cold. It's awesome. It's great. Okay, so let me get you on this agreement. That way, I can go back to my boss and let her know that we have an existing customer. that happens to sell billboards. Can you believe? And guys, business owners in the room, how many of you, if they are in fact an existing customer of your company, would be more apt, more willing to talk to that billboard advertiser? Chances are everybody inside this room, right, in this group here, would absolutely be more willing to talk to somebody who is an existing customer, right? You offer this service agreement to every advertiser that calls in. And the reason why you do this is twofold. Number one, you'll sell more service agreements. And number two, you'll get less marketers calling you. You're welcome. All right. Everyone's a customer. Somebody's mom calls in. Great. We love moms. As long as they're ready to buy a service agreement. Okay. Mindset and process. You give them the process. You make sure they have the right mindset, and they will become your best sales team. Okay. So we make sure they're well practiced. We make sure they're held accountable to that process. Okay. That means that even when pricing calls comes in, or even when scheduling calls come in, because I know some of you are thinking, okay, so we get them to the point where they're ready to book, and we ask, when would you like to come out? And that's a scary question. When would you come out? When would you like to come out? I'm not going to ask that question. That's really, hold on a minute. When they ask, when would you like to come out? They say this afternoon and you're booked solid for 3 days. That's fine. Simply say, let me get your contact information and we'll look at the schedule together. Did I say I could come out right now? No. I said, I simply asked, let's get your contact information and we'll go ahead and look at the schedule together. All right. Now, if you could meet their expectation of when you'd like for them to come out, or when they'd like for you to come out, book it. If you can't meet their expectation of when they'd like for you to come out, then we're going to use a tool called the urgency list. We'll talk about that in just a minute. Okay. In the meantime, let's talk about pricing for just a second.
Can I ask you a question? I'm sorry, Brigham. I'm going to interrupt the flow. You were hitting on something. So, hey, I just want to hear, because you obviously talk to a lot of call centers and business owners across the nation. What you talked about in the first 4 on the bottom there is like a psychological masterclass of, I think a lot of CSRs, especially early, let the calls happen to them. And what you've portrayed is basically taking control of the conversation, and now you're directing the call, but still letting the caller feel like they're in control. And I just want to make sure to point that out, because that really resonated with what I'm thinking about.
Love it. I am so glad you chimed in. You're welcome to chime in at any time, by the way. You guys, this is not a TV show. What other questions or comments do you have before we move any further? Was that a question? Yeah, I'm not sure if somebody realizes they're not on mute. That's all right. Okay. Let's keep rolling here. When they ask for a price, what they're looking for here is value. Okay. People want value. They're saying, I don't see the value, or at least the value differentiation. And it's your objective and your job to show value differentiation by the way that you care and understand their situation, care about and understand their situation, and then reassure them that they've called the right place. It is psychological. It's emotional. I'm glad you caught that. That's super cool. So when would you like to come out is the right question. It is the right question. Our goal is to come out. So why aren't we asking that question? Right? If you can meet their expectation, book it. If you cannot meet their expectation, go ahead and urgency list it. Now, what is an urgency list, you guys? You may not need this tool right now, but trust me, when it starts to warm up, you're going to need this tool. Okay, so what is the urgency list? We've called it in the past a waiting list. Not Power Selling Pros, but the industry has called it a waiting list or a standby list. Have you guys ever flown standby? It's not fun. All right, nobody likes to wait. You shouldn't call it a waiting list because no one wants to wait. No one wants to be on a wait list. Okay, it's an urgency list. Instead of the urgency list being a consolation prize, in other words, oh, sorry, we're all booked, but I can put you on the urgency list. You see how that's a consolation prize? Don't you dare do that. If you can meet the expectation, book it. If you cannot meet their expectation, you urgency list it. So very simply, hey, when would you like us to come out? This afternoon would be great. You know you're booked for 3 days. Great. Let me get your contact information. We'll look at the schedule together. We get all their contact information. We look at the schedule. We go, okay, Mr. Jones, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get you on today's urgency list. Okay. I'm focused on the urgency list. The urgency list is the prize. It's the thing that I can offer. So I'm going to focus in on what I can do as opposed to what I cannot do. Here's what I can do. I'm going to get you on today's urgency list. Now, the urgency list gives you faster service. As soon as a customer calls in to reschedule, or a technician gets done early in your area, I'm going to move you into that slot. Now, in order to get you on today's urgency list, I need to get you in the schedule. I've got an opening on Tuesday in between 2 and 4. Can I book that appointment in order to get you on today's urgency list? And we'll call you as soon as a technician is on his way. Okay, so basically what I did there is I said, look, we have 2 ways to get out today. And every one of you have 2 ways to get out today. Even if you're booked solid right now, you have 2 ways to get out today. Number one, if a customer calls in to reschedule, or a technician gets done early in their specific area. Those are the 2 ways for us to get out. And you guys know that this is true. Okay, so we simply tell the customer what is true. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put you on today's urgency list. As soon as the customer calls in reschedule, technician gets done early in your area, I move you into that slot. But in order to get you into the urgency list, today's urgency list, I do need to get you in the schedule. I've got an opening on Tuesday between 2 and 4. Can I book that appointment or get you on today's urgency list? And we'll call you as soon as the technician is on his way. Do you guys see how many more calls you're going to be booked with this? This is where that psychology comes in again. And I'm wondering, at what point are some of you going to say, is there any way you can send us a script? Yes. Feel free to take a picture of that. And of course, this is being recorded, so you can refer back to it. Guys, go ahead and unmute. Those of you who have a comment, but do you see how this is going to help you book more calls? Yes or no? Any questions on it? Feel free to chime in. And if you've already chimed in, don't be afraid to chime in again. You're on a roll. Let's go.
I mean, just on the short end, I'll go ahead. Thanks, Brigham. Like for us as a marketing agency, you know, hearing calls go without the customer's information even getting acquired is just baffling. You're going the extra mile, which is awesome. Of hey, everything needs to be booked. We just want at least everything in the CRM so we can retarget them and go after them if right now is not the right time. And so by going all the way with what you're framing is exactly what we're talking about. So I love it. I mean, no caller should call in without giving you their contact information because that's useful info for us to reuse.
Exactly. You've paid for it. You've invested money for them to call in. You need to capture that information.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Brigham.
So, yeah.
Quick question for you. This is, I guess, a little more pointed at something very specific, but you were talking about pricing. If we get what I call like a price pumper on the phone who's just pumping you for the price over and over again, what's the best way to help change the mindset of the CSR, or like maybe a tip to kind of work through that a little bit better? Does that make sense? Like somebody who's just right to the point, I want the price now, otherwise I'm hanging up on you kind of mindset. How can we work with our CSR to kind of change that, how they frame that call or their mental frame on it?
It's a great question. Love it. Thank you for asking it. So with that in particular CSR, let's say it happens and they report to you that it happened, or you were listening and it happened. You want to save that call and you want to play it for them, right? And first thing you say is, wow, that guy or gal was brutal, right? You're going to agree that was brutal. That was hard, right? That was next level. And then you simply say, how do we book calls like that? Now, the CSR is going to be initially, at least this has been my experience, initially going to be like, I have no idea. I have no clue. And so the next question is well, maybe the right question is, are these guys a customer? And you need to ask this legitimately, sincerely, or they'll see right through you, right? And then see what their response is. Because some are going to say, well, yeah. And others will say, no, absolutely not. Now, depending on the answer to that question, you're going to find part of the problem. You see, because if they go into that call believing that that's not a customer, if you think that they're not a customer, guess what? You're right. You're right. But if you do believe there's a customer, now that we've got something to work with. Okay. So let's say they don't believe that's a customer. All right. Why do you think they're calling in? Well, they want a price on a system. Okay. Are they bored? Why would they ask that question? Well, chances are they got a system that's not working. Huh. And what services do we provide? Well, we fix systems. Crazy. So are they a customer or not? Well, yeah, they're a customer, but what are we supposed to do there? Yes, that's the right question. What are we supposed to do there? We've got to get that guy or gal to feel safe, comfortable, have a little bit of fun. In that environment, what it is, it's a buying environment. People buy inside that environment. They go to malls and they spend all of their money, right? You go into Lululemon, you feel safe, you feel comfortable, you're having fun, and you're spending hundreds and hundreds of dollars on who knows what, another workout outfit. Obviously, you see this is a sore spot for me. Okay. Happens all the time. But they feel safe, they feel comfortable, they're having fun. They're in that environment. So if you can get them in that environment over the phone, you can get them away from how much is it? Because at the end of the day, they're calling you either because they don't want to do it themselves or they don't know how. Because guess what? If they knew how, they'd go to Home Depot and fix it themselves. Okay? And even if they did know how, the other reason why they're calling you is because they don't want to do it. And they're hoping you can make it easy for them. So make it easy. Make it easy by helping them feel safe, comfortable, and fun. Help them realize that you're the right company, independent of your price, and book that call. And you do that by listening, caring, and reassuring. Hey, I'm just looking for a ballpark price. Great. Tell me more about your situation. What's going on? Well, I've got an air conditioner. It's blowing hot air. My gosh, that's terrible. How long has it been doing that? Oh, last couple of days. Well, look, we can totally help you. When would you like us out? Oh, this afternoon would be good. And you'd be surprised how often it happens just like that. Because if there's a CSR on the line, they're going, there's no way it's that easy. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It is that easy.
Awesome, man. I appreciate the detailed response. Took a bunch of notes. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. If you have other questions, let me know. Let's roll. Okay. So when CSRs are doing accounting, say calls aren't coming in and you've got them doing accounting, you've got them doing collections, or they're reading their favorite novel, that's a no-no. Okay. We need a proactive, performance-based team working inside our office. That means that if calls aren't coming in, we're going to train and incentivize them to call out. Right? It could be taught. The simplest way to teach a CSR to do outbound calls is to give them the ability and power to sell service agreements on inbound calls. Okay. If I create an environment of safety, comfort, and fun over the phone, and I book that call, I wow that customer, we're the only ones going out. And at the end of that call, I simply say, hey, Mr. Jones, I'm looking at your notes and I notice you don't have an agreement with us. I'm wondering why not. You see, it prevents things like this, the thing that you're dealing with right now, from happening. The best time to sell a service agreement is over the phone because that's when they're feeling the emotional angst. Technician goes out, they fix the problem, the emotional angst is gone, and then they try to sell a service agreement. That's a mistake. Okay, that service agreement should be sold. I want the technician to go out and work on indoor air quality, hot and cold areas in the home, so on and so forth. There's so many other things the technician can do inside that customer's home. I don't want them wasting time with the service agreement. That should be the CSR's job. Okay. Let's say that you pay a CSR $10 a service agreement, and you know they're getting 30 calls a day in. So let's say that on all 30 calls, at the end of that call, I'm simply asking, Mr. Jones, I'm looking at your notes. I notice you don't have a service agreement with us. I'm wondering why not. Simple question. And let's say that 20 out of the 30 of those calls go, oh, I'm good. And that's fine. You don't push it. You say, hey, if you change your mind, talk to your technician about it. Don't even push it. What that means, though, is the other 10 out of the 30 say, well, tell me more about that. What's going on? What is it? And then you start telling them how it prevents things like this, the thing they're dealing with right now, from happening. And they'll say that 2 out of the 10 decide to move forward. That means they made an extra $20 a day. Now, if you're sitting here going, oh, $20 a day is not a big deal. Excuse me? Do the math there. 20 times 5, $100. It's $100 a week. How many weeks in a year? 52. They don't work 52 weeks. Let's say they work 50. That's an extra $5,000 a year. Do you want your CSR to sit in that seat longer? Do you want them to be a CSR for the next 10 years or the next 2 months? The way you get them in the seat longer, there, in that position longer, is by giving them control over their own income. You let them make as much money as they want to make. And if they're not motivated by money, they probably shouldn't be in that department. Based on the demographic that I know inside that call center, they're motivated by money, you guys. They are money motivated. Give them the power and the ability to make as much money as they want to make inside that seat. And I promise you, they're going to begin to feel less and less like the bottom of the totem pole, which they likely feel right now. Give them the ability to make as much money as they want to make. Now, if they're selling service agreements on those inbound calls and they're making extra, and just ask them, hey, if you can make an extra $5,000 a year, would you be excited about that? What do you think they're going to say? They're going to be all kinds of excited about that. All kinds. So just do it. When you do it, you're going to be able to get them to do other things as well. You see, when calls aren't coming in, they'll start calling out because they now know that they can make as much money as they want to make. You've given them the ability to be self-reliant. You've given them a taste of what's possible inside that call center. Okay? Right? You basically give them control over their own destiny. And then they are proactively renewing service agreements because they know it's going to affect their income in a positive way. They're cross-selling appointments. If you do heating and cooling and plumbing, heating and cooling lead comes in and you say, hey, did you also know we do plumbing? And I book that call. Would you not pay them for that? Of course. Turning service calls and replacement calls. We pay technicians to do this. Why can't a CSR dispatcher lead coordinator look at the notes on your CRM and go, hey, we've been out to your home several times over the last few years. You've got a system that's 15 years old. You've gotten some great life out of it. Have you ever considered replacing it? Cool. They send out a technician and then have a comfort advisor come out a little bit later. Would we not pay them for that? Just like we pay techs? Aren't tech set leads our favorite leads? What if CSR leads could be our favorite leads? And would we not pay them for that? You see, we are underutilizing our team. We can create systems and processes that give them the ability to win and for you to win ultimately, right? Equipment replacement rehash. You know the comfort advisor's not doing it. You know they're not calling their customers back. It's out of sight, out of mind as soon as they leave that customer's home. Let the CSRs do it. New appointments with past customers. If calls aren't coming in, train and incentivize the CSRs to call out. Okay? Okay, I got to start moving here. It's funny. I just noticed I have all ones there. Instead of 1 through 5, I have all ones there. And they're all number 1, you guys. Everyone, I did that on purpose. Don't you think for a moment I didn't. All right, so your techs. Your techs also need the right mindset. And they need to own their process, okay? I often ask technicians, guys, how do you get kissed on a date? Crazy thing. Safety, comfort, fun. This is where a smart alecky technician goes, wait a minute. You want us to kiss our customers? No. No, I don't. But I do want you to create an environment of safety, comfort, and fun, because inside that environment, you guys, everything's going to be easier. You're going to earn the tour. Whenever I do a ride along with a tech, I purposely spend 10 to 15 minutes just inside the front door. It drives them crazy. They want so badly to go to the thermostat. They want so badly to go to the box outside or to the furnace, right? They want so, please put me in my comfort zone. Nope. I make them stand right there while I'm just chatting it up. I'm chatting it up. And we're talking about anything. It's anything. And I'm creating an environment, safety, comfort, and fun. And funny thing, the customer goes, hey, you know what? I want to show you something. They turn their back a little bit and they say, follow me. And I keep the customer with me the whole time. If they take us to the thermostat, great. If they take us to the back room that isn't as comfortable as the rest of the house, great. If I do plumbing and heating and cooling, I'm talking about all their plumbing needs as we go through the tour, as well as their heating and cooling. And next thing you know, that technician has to call the office and say, hey, I'm going to be here all day. Awesome. I've done hundreds of ride-alongs, you guys, hundreds. There's only one time where I haven't been able to sell something, and you already know which one that is. It's when I was one of 5 bids. Get your technician out there. Create an environment of safety, comfort, and fun. Use the pattern for excellence doing that. Once they feel comfortable, they're in that buying environment, be curious, okay? You're getting that tour. Be curious about what's going on inside the home. Ask a lot of questions. Offer options, not just the thing that you assume they need or want, all of their options, because what you want may not be what the customer wants. Provide all the options and get to yes or no. When you do that, you're going to have a team, whether it's in the field, whether it's in the office, you're going to have a team that is well-trained and incentivized to sell more without realizing that they're selling. And you're going to do more over the phone and in the home. Any questions? If you guys want a demo for our coaching services, if you want to learn more about Booked, go ahead and scan this. Obviously, you're going to get the recording of this webinar. You may ask yourselves, man, he really gave out a lot of great content here. How does he do that and grow his business? Funny thing. When people realize what can be done inside their call center, they also realize that they don't have time to do it themselves. And that's the reason why I show you. Okay. So I'm going to jump out of this PowerPoint, and we'll use the remaining time that we've got to answer any questions that you have.
No questions, but I have to run to a phone call right now. This is fantastic. I picked up so many helpful pieces of information out of this.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Really awesome. Thank you for your time.
Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure. And anybody else? Questions?
No question, but one thing that stuck out to me and I really appreciated was on the urgency list slide, where what kind of dawned on me, and even at Leadhub we do this, is there are some things that we're already doing. So like if someone's booked and then an appointment drops, the dispatcher is going to be moving that around, right? So you're already doing it, but now you're merchandising it in the process. And I think that that's a key element, is what are we already doing and how can we merchandise it in any portion of the customer experience? And so that was a really cool tidbit.
Love it. Appreciate that. Thank you. All right, you guys, that's our time. If there isn't any other questions, thank you so much for the opportunity. And we'll see you guys in the next one.
Thank you, Brigham.
All right.
Thanks, Brigham.
You bet.
Appreciate your time, man.
You bet. Take care.
Thank you, bro.
You bet.
Bye, Dan.
See you, buddy.
See you later.